Welcome to episode 24 of the Shamrock Green Room, your favorite podcast highlighting everything about Scotus Central Catholic and Columbus Catholic schools. Each episode, we discuss what it's like to be a Shamrock. Whether that is a current student, a teacher, an alum, or supporter, we want to hear your stories on why this is such a special place in education. I'm your host, Jon Brezenski, 1998 graduate, former boys' head soccer coach, assistant football coach, and current assistant coach for the girls' soccer program. Today, I'm joined by the executive director of Columbus Catholic Schools, Jeff Ohnoutka. If you recall, Jeff was the guest on the first episode of the Shamrock Green Room last year. So if you haven't had a chance to go back and listen to his first episode, get a little history on him as a coach and educator and his path to SCOTUS. Today, we're going to summarize this past school year, talk about what's ahead for 2025 and 26 for Columbus Catholic Schools and the future for SCOTUS. Jeff, thanks for stopping back into the Shamrock Green Room.
Yeah, it's a real privilege to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking time out of a summer day to get this in, but looking forward to it.
It's time to go back to school. Can't hardly believe it. Summer went by so fast.
So true, isn't it? I mean, the
is.
summer has flown by. You know, what the teachers report Monday for meetings, is that right?
Yeah, and a lot of them have been in the building already. We had the 7th graders had their first orientation, which would have been on Wednesday of this week. And so those 80 students were in the building already, kind of going around, getting a good look of things, walking their schedule, checking out things, opening their locker, which is always a big deal, practicing opening your locker.
My nephew was super nervous about that.
It's high anxiety.
It is.
Yeah. For opening that padlock, it's like high anxiety. So, yeah.
So 80 in the 7th grade class?
Yeah, it's either 79 or 80, one of the two. But it's the biggest class that I can remember us having for quite a while.
Yeah,
so
that's the biggest that I can recall in a lot of years, really.
Yeah, and it's really more than we anticipate. I mean, SCOTUS is a 3-track school. We really try to only put 24 kids in a classroom for the 3 sections, so that ends up being 72.
Yeah.
So we're having to add some space or add some desks into that classroom for those 7th grade, especially core teachers, are going to end up teaching a few more students this year. But, in the long run, it's a great thing. It's a great problem to have, that's for sure. So
I know I've mentioned this in some episode. My 7th grade class, we had 94 come in. Graduated with 72. My brother's class had close to 100, I think. They graduated in upper 70s. So
yeah, I think there was a time where you used to see where kids would come at 7th grade, maybe stay through confirmation at the end of the 8th grade year, then they would transfer on after that. We just don't have that happen very often anymore. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think, if they leave earlier just because of the middle school stuff.
I mean, honestly, you look at our whole system from the K through 12, we're getting probably about 99% of the kids who are in our elementary schools.
So who start in the
they start, and most of those kids that went through the preschools as well too, and they're going to end up going all the way through our system, which is a great thing.
Which is great. Yeah, we rarely have kids leave, and sometimes kids leave for various reasons, but it is what it is.
Yep.
So I know in my other nephew's class at elementary school, they have a few kids that transferred in. So
yeah, we at this time of the year, it's funny. Like the last 2 weeks right before school starts, we start to see an uptick again of kids who are coming in.
Really?
That they've made a decision now. It's like they waited the whole summer, didn't make a move, but then in the last couple of weeks, for whatever reason, we start. I mean, I think SCOTUS maybe has added 5 kids in the last week to school. And it's happening even in our elementary schools too, of adding a few. So
well, again, another great problem to have, so to speak, right?
Yeah, it's a great place to go to school.
It is. It is. Well, that's awesome. Well, let's do a summary. So 2024, 2025 was a pretty good year across the board for SCOTUS.
Yeah, for SCOTUS, it was a great year. I look at like our ACT scores for the seniors that we had. That started way back for the graduating class of 24. Those scores come out in the fall of the 24-25 school year. So and they were like a top 5 score all time, like the 24.8. I don't remember exactly what it was offhand, but it's around 24.8. That's extremely high. Yeah. I mean, SCOTUS is up, like their reading comprehension scores on the ACT test has grown dramatically. I mean, math and science always traditionally were our strongest, but now we've caught up in all the other areas, and so just really impressed by our students. But I'm always impressed by our students. Our students are really committed to really being the best that they can possibly be. I love the fact that kids, and I noticed when I came this is starting my 21st year. And so, I've been in this building for that amount of time, and then my office is here now. But SCOTUS kids are competitive about their academics. They're very competitive about their academics. I mean, they want to do well. Teachers don't always have to just kind of keep pushing them on. If teachers are pushing them, it's pushing them to get even a little bit more out of them. So
even the smart kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
well, I shouldn't say smart kids, but the ones that are excelling already. How can you be better?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the mark of a really good teacher. I mean, when you can notice that a student, because sometimes, John, kids get bored.
Yep.
They're doing well. Maybe the work isn't as challenging to them. They get bored. It's kind of why we started the STEAM program around here too. We felt like there was kids who we needed to expand on them a little bit. They were really good at the math and science, but now let's apply it to like robotics. Let's apply it to engineering. Those kind of things where they are doing more hands-on type of activities that would get them out of that boredom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to wrap it up, that part of it again. I mean, just SCOTUS kids academically, it was another really strong year for academics. When you look at across the board for activities, I mean, you go back all the way to the fall. I mean, it was a great fall. But I even look at like our fine arts programs. You talk about like our one act. Our speech team is incredibly good. I mean, Melanie Mimick has done just a really, really good job. I mean, she resurrected that program through hard work. Yep. Becky Zanardi gave her some good help. Becky's no longer with us now, but I mean, Melanie does just doesn't get the amount of just publicity, congratulations as much as she should for what she's done with that program. The job that Kristen Cox does, that Laura Salyard does with our music programs. I mean, they do a really good job. When you look at the athletic standpoint, our girls had a fantastic year. And I really looked at that group because maybe the year before as juniors, there was still some growing that needed to happen. But what set the bar for them this year, what I looked at, and I could see it right away from cross country, volleyball, how competitive they were. And the leadership that our seniors provided on a daily basis, I thought our seniors were really competitive. And when your best players set the tone for everyone else just follows suit. They're gonna fall in line with that. And so I thought our coaches did just a really good job with our kids. But I looked at those kids and I go, those kids would be really easy to coach because I would pop into practices every now and then, look at things. I mean, it's a highly competitive situation all the time. Yeah. And that's a mark of success. I mean, that when you have those things, when you have that type of determination, competitive spirit, don't want to lose. I mean, the beauty of now that I didn't have when I was coaching is like hosting these district finals in your own gym.
How awesome was that?
It's crazy good. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, how exciting it was for like our volleyball team to come back from a down 2-0 to Ogallala and to come back and win that thing. Yeah. The girls basketball team being able to close it out here, our girls soccer team and the great amount of success that they've had for a long time, and to do it all again like they did this year. I mean, our girls soccer team is just a mark of consistency. I mean, they just, I know Terry Gala, when he was coming here to be our new principal, and we were talking about it, and he was talking about soccer. He goes, "Well, you guys go to state?" I go, "We go to state every year." I mean, it seems like we go to state every year. It's like a tradition. So, but but in the end, I mean, just overall, I thought 25-26 was a great year, and it had a lot to do with our senior class. That our senior class from campus ministry standpoint, for being leaders in the area of mass attendance and being involved in a lot of different things of evangelizing our students. We had a great group of seniors that were really good leaders in that area. Because I was a little bit concerned about that. Dana Ritzdorf, who was our campus minister, they moved to Florida. We had a new person coming in Molly Walsh, and she did a really, really good job this last year in her first year of organizing it and trying to feel her way through it. She just did a magnificent job. But she also had great seniors that were helping her along the way, and so just really proud of that.
Even coaching some of them in soccer, or just even obviously having Emma as a daughter, but and going back to your point, like when we were coaching, you have kind of a good senior class. You can give them more ownership of it, right? So I think that was good to see. I think volleyball had a little bit, basketball they had a lot of ownership in the team this year, soccer, same thing, and all their other activities too, play production, all this stuff. Going to your point, seniors did a really good job with that.
Yeah, and success breeds success, right? I mean, when they see the success that is happening, I mean, it would only be that like the junior class of last year that's going to be seniors now, it should be that they want to carry on. And we try to impress that upon our kids a lot about like, hey, orientation will be next week. And the seniors will get to talk about, like, now's your time.
Yep.
Now's your time to be the leaders. You remember what it was like to be a seventh grader in our school. Mm-hmm. Okay, it wasn't that long ago. You were down at the bottom of the food chain there for a while. But now you're at the top. But with that comes great responsibility for how to do things. So,
and to create that culture and continue the culture that's built.
To continue the culture.
It's hard to build it.
Right.
It's hard to keep it going, so hopefully they can continue that. So I think they're up to the challenge. I know I've talked to some of the girls. They're excited about the school.
I have no concerns whatsoever. I think they're going to do a great job. I thought, matter of fact, I told them last year just as juniors, I thought they had a great year as juniors in the leadership that they showed in the things that they were doing. So,
I don't know, football's gotten off to a good start with the football camp stuff. I think they're all kind of excited with that stuff. So,
yeah.
Well, what about just the Columbus Catholic schools in general? We touched on SCOTUS's great year. Columbus Catholic schools in general, kind of wrap that up from the elementary school standpoint and the school board or the board of directors standpoint.
Yeah. So first of all, we're really blessed with our board of directors. They are a great help to me. They are highly engaged in our schools. They want our schools to be successful. So I mean, they have a lot of meetings during the month. We have our regular board meetings, we have an executive committee, we have a facilities committee, we have an advancement committee, we have mission integration committee. All of our board members not only are part of the board meetings that happen on the third Monday, and I forgot about finance committee as well too. They're all part of the board meeting that happens once a month, but then there's lots of other meetings that happen throughout the month as well too, and email conversations and phone conversations that they're just so dedicated to making sure that our schools are about excellence, that making sure that we are being the best that we can possibly be. So I'm really blessed to have the resources that we have. I'm also blessed to have three great leaders of our elementary schools, Amy Sokol over at St. Anthony, Cheryl Zuha over at St. Bon's, and Amy Evans over at St. Isidore's, and just outstanding teaching staffs. I mean, I'm able to spend a decent amount of time in our elementary schools. I'm thinking that, I'm hoping that it's one of my goals for this year, and I could talk about that in a little bit, is to be more involved in our elementary schools. But they run great schools, and we have just outstanding teachers. One of the hallmarks that I always thought when I came to SCOTUS as I've been here is, wow, I mean, people don't leave. Teachers stick around here for a long time, and we'll talk about some of the retirees that we had in just a little bit, but it's the same thing in our elementary schools.
It is.
It's completely the same thing in our elementary schools. People who have been teaching in those schools 35 years, 40 years, gave their whole working life to teaching in Columbus Catholic schools, in one of them anyway. That's a big deal. I mean, what do they say? People change jobs like 7 times in their lives or something like that. I mean, these people are not changing jobs.
No.
They're pretty satisfied with what they're doing, and they're accepting the mission that God has called them to do, to work in our schools and to help grow the Catholic faith in our kids.
Yeah, and I think, and using Chrissy as an example, she taught with Linda Misek, 2nd grade. Linda was a long-term teacher, retired here a couple of years ago. Then moved up into 4th grade and taught with Lynn Har. Same thing. I mean, another great teacher. So,
absolutely.
Those types of teachers, kind of helping mentor, And Chrissy's been a teacher for a long time too, but you still help mentor in some way, and then those teachers kind of carry on that stuff. So that's just kind of how it continues to grow. And same thing at SCOTUS.
It's no different, yeah. But what we just spent time talking about our students, it's no different for our adults.
Exactly.
The success breeds success. Mm-hmm. You want to be. Some of our younger teachers are going to end up modeling themselves after what they see because of the professionalism of the people that we have working in our schools.
Exactly. Great parallel there, for sure. So, well, let's talk about some of those staff changes. We got some new things coming. Some teachers have retired across the system. We got some new teachers coming in, so kind of touch base on that a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the retirements that we had first.
Okay.
Because essentially we have like 18 different changes within the Columbus Catholic school system, and I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Sure.
But some retirements, and you mentioned one of them, Lynn Harsh, but over at St. Isidore's, had Ann Misek and Lynn Harsh retired. And they were just outstanding teachers over there. I mean, they've been there for a long, long time, dedicated to the students at St. Isidore's. Gonna miss them a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, gonna miss them. We've got great people coming in, that are going to help fill those, but it's always different, and you lose, you really lose something. But we're blessed that we've got great people coming in. And then at SCOTUS, you had Merlin Lom and Janet Tooley and Chris Wirtz and Tom Salyard and Carmen Johnson. I mean, when you talk about Ann Misek and Lynn Harsh and Merlin Lom, Janet Tooley, Chris Wirtz, Tom Salyard, Carmen Johnson, I'm pretty sure that's like 250 years or something.
Yeah, I was trying to add that up in my head.
I don't have it offhand, and I wish I would have done it before. But I mean, seriously, it's crazy.
It is.
All of these people, a lot of them didn't have other jobs. Chris Wirtz came to us a little bit later, mm-hmm. But she spent a long time in education over at Columbus Public Schools. But those people, I mean, the impact that those people had on generations of people who have gone through Columbus Catholic schools. They taught their parents, they taught their children,
exactly.
and so maybe even in some instances taught the grandchildren.
Kids, a couple instances there have been.
Yeah. So it's really, I mean, that's a huge blow. I mean, that's and that's why it's so important. And I'll talk more about this in a little bit as well too, of getting great people. Mm-hmm. So. When we start to look at some of the changes that we have for Columbus Catholic Schools this year, I'll just start with SCOTUS administration. So Terry Cottle's coming over to be the principal, and he was the principal at Pius in Lincoln. I've known Terry for about 27 years. Actually, this is the 28th year that I've known Terry. Terry and I worked together at Hartington Cedar Catholic. He and I were the social studies department at Hartington Cedar Catholic. I helped out. I was the head basketball coach. He was the girls basketball coach. Helped out with other sports together. Watched our kids grow up together. So Terry's always somebody I've had the utmost respect for. We're very lucky to have him at SCOTUS. He's just going to do a great job. Brady Van Cure is going to move into the assistant principal activities director role. He will do a fantastic job in the activities director role. He's a very sports-minded person. He's going to bring a lot of energy to this. I'm really expecting a lot of good things for him in that position. At St. Anthony's, we have Carrie Kreber coming over. Carrie was a teacher at Lost Creek. She's coming over from the public school. It's going to teach at St. Anthony. Bill Politsky, who's a parent of some SCOTUS students in the past. His youngest daughter graduated from SCOTUS last year. He was a longtime teacher over at Schuyler. He's going to be teaching it at St. Anthony's. At St. Bon's, Sheena Wirtz is going to be teaching. Some of you might know the meat market or the grocery store over in St. Ed, owned by her and her husband over there.
Oh, really?
Sheena was a special education work. She did work for special education for Columbus Public Schools before in the non-publics, so she's worked with our students before. She's a graduate of SCOTUS as well, too. So they live over in St. Ed. Jen Hendricks is moving over from Isidore's to Bonaventure. At St. Isidore's, we'll have Amy Cottle, who's Terry's wife. She's spent a lot of time in, been a classroom teacher, been a special education teacher. Laura Gasson is moving over from the public school to work with. She's a SCOTUS parent as well, too. Madison Strickland will be teaching at St. Isidore as well. I think she's going to be teaching second grade. She's a graduate of, she would have graduated from Humphrey St. Francis at that time, before it became Archangels. So she's from the Humphrey area, so she's going to be coming down. At SCOTUS, we've got Kathy Hutchinson, who used to teach over at St. Anthony's. She's going to teach 7th grade English. My wife, who taught 7th grade English, is going to move into the family and consumer science role that Carmen Johnson had. Yeah, okay. My wife was originally a family and consumer science teacher at first, and then taught the 7th grade English. Roger Krinke is coming over to replace Janet in the PE position. Roger's also going to be the head football coach now. Cassie Kuma, SCOTUS grad, is going to teach the 11th and 12th grade theology. That was previously done by Mr. Tyler Linder. Lorena Mia. Lorena is going to come over here to teach Spanish. She's coming over from Columbus High. We're really, really lucky to have Lorena in our school. She's going to be an outstanding teacher, comes with the highest of regard from Columbus High. So we're really, really fortunate to have her. Matt Wallish, who was in our system before, he was teaching over at St. Bonaventure. He's going to move over and teach over here at SCOTUS. Nate Teneper, who was on the SCOTUS staff, and so now he's going to be a full-time teacher. Kudos to Nate. He's doing everything that he needs to do for the state to get the certification that he needs. So I just really appreciate the hard work that he's put in. I was at a meeting recently on late in July over at St. Anthony's. I come out of the meeting, and there's Nate out on the practice field out there with the connected group, the youth group out there. There's like 20 kids playing ball together. Nate's very invested in our youth. And then we have one other hire, Cecilia Minchow. She's a former Focus missionary. We're bringing in one other person to be a work in campus ministry because I feel like that's an area we've got to be strong at. You know, we need to be strong with our campus ministry of providing opportunities for our kids to grow in their faith. And then one position that's shared by St. Bon's and St. Isidore's is a PE position. Michael Made, he used to teach 6th grade over at St. Bon's. He's going to be doing the elementary PE position that Ryan Baker did previously. One last one, Lori Hergott is leaving. Going to miss Lori a lot. She did a lot of great stuff for SCOTUS as the front office secretary. She's going to be moving to Lincoln. And Bridget Runquist has taken her position. Bridget has 2 daughters over at St. Bonaventure. She was formerly in a position like this at CMS and at Centennial. So we're really lucky to have her in our school as well, too.
That is a lot.
It's a lot. Like, I had to make sure that as I wrote these down about a half hour ago, like, okay, and I'm not even sure, like, maybe I did miss somebody. Yeah. I hope I didn't. And if I didn't, please forgive me. Yeah. But it's a lot of change.
That is a lot of change.
It's a lot of change. But we're blessed with, like, all those people. Like, I could go on for a long time about each one of those people and what they're going to bring to our system.
And a lot of experience. So it isn't like, you know, you're replacing some experience with also some experienced teachers that are going to fill some important roles.
Correct. So, there's very few of those people are first-year teachers.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Yep. That's great. And listeners, if you didn't catch all that, just hit the rewind and listen to it maybe 3 or 4 more times. Yeah. No,
there'll be a quiz.
It's probably been a long time since it's been a long time. I mean, that's probably the most changes that I can recall.
Yeah. Well, so we had the year before we had a good amount of change, but we're just having retirements now, John.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's chain reaction of things that are happening. Mm-hmm. When I first took over as president principal at SCOTUS, I hardly had to make a change at all.
Yeah.
I mean, now, you know, things are a little bit different because you talk about like SCOTUS, we had, 5 retirements.
Yeah, a lot of those retirees were, early in their teaching careers when I was here.
Yeah.
So again, it kind of goes back to your point of longevity. Right. And eventually longevity's got to kind of kick over.
Well, we're starting to see some turnover now in our schools.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why it's the utmost priority to make sure that we have great people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But the turnover has been more of retirements.
Absolutely.
It isn't like teachers are leaving for various
hardly
reasons.
happens.
They're leaving because they're retiring. They've kind of fulfilled their careers.
Yeah.
Which says a lot to them.
Yeah, rarely happens.
Yeah. So, well, I'm sure everything will just continue to go as it goes. So, well, as we approach the new school year, which starts next week, what are some goals? What are some goals for Columbus Catholic Schools?
Well, I think first and foremost, a goal is just like I just was talking about, like those 18 changes. Like, it's on me. It's my, responsibility, and, with the help of our principals as we do interviews, is to make sure that we have high quality people with high quality instruction for our students. That's got to be like our top goal. Are the people who work here, the people who are teaching here, and then our support staff, they're the backbone of the school. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are going to make it go. They're going to make it work. Administrators, we're the, we try to organize and do all these things, but when the rubber meets the road, it's the teachers every day, the connection they are with their students. So our goal always is to make sure that we've got great people. So as going in, we feel really good about, where we are with that.
Yeah.
I think again, then too, so what's going to happen is our principals, as they go into the school year, and they're going to report this to our board of directors in September, each of the schools is going to have really a strategic plan for the year, a school improvement plan and it's really, each one will be unique to each location, because each one's going to have different needs. Some of them are going to really focus on improving their reading instruction, or their reading comprehension within their schools, or they want to do better maybe on some standardized tests. Some people are going to say, hey, we want to have more engagement for our kids when it comes to the Catholic identity and with our campus ministry. And so then the principals are building plans on that, and then you really have to have measurables for that. Mm-hmm. You're going to, 2 months in, you're going to take a look at, okay, how are we doing in those areas? How are we improving in those areas? Are we meeting our benchmarks that we had? Are we really seeing the growth that we want to have?
Kind of like checking in on what you're planning.
Yeah. I mean, you need to, because if things aren't progressing the way that you want to, you don't want to wait till March or April to say, we really needed I wish we'd have
changed what happened in October.
I wish we'd have changed this back in November or something like that. Yeah. So,
yeah.
One of the things that I have to continue to look at for our schools just goes like increasing our operational efficiency. I mean that we are 4 schools. There's our schools. It's about $7.8 million every year for our schools. So to operate. Yeah, to operate our schools, and that doesn't even include like our cafeteria. It doesn't include that. And so it's really on me. We need to improve. Our goals are to improve. Our fundraising. Always looking at our fundraising. How can we do a better job there? Get people engaged in what we're doing. I go back to really support what we value. Mm-hmm. So making sure that we get out there that people, we need you to support what we need you to, what you value, we need you to support that. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, for sure. Well, and that it is kind of touches back. We just had our alumni soccer tournament last weekend. We get a lot of alumni events, so there's a lot of pride in the alumni things, but also we also have a lot of supporters that are in the community. I guess, how important do you see the role of the alumni, the role of that supporter, to kind of touch on that point you just made?
Yeah, I think it's of the utmost importance. I say like our parents, they are our best advertisements for our schools as well too, in terms of encouraging other people maybe to send their schools. I call them like our pollinators that go out there and spread the message, hey, that this is a great place for your kids. So we really need our parents to do that. But what you're talking about, like the alumni, the supporters, the people who sent their kids to school here that continue to support our schools, we need them to be active members of our schools. We need those people who their kids have gone through to still feel connected to our school. Mm-hmm. We absolutely need them to feel connected to our school. We need our alumni, whether it's through the basketball alumni or the soccer or the volleyball that they have, or whatever it is, that somehow, some way, we have to be connecting with them as well too. We want them, and we hope and pray that they feel proud that they're a graduate of Scotto Central Catholic, okay, or that they're a proud member of K through 12 of a Columbus Catholic school. They went to Anthony's, Bonds, or Isidore's, transitioned on to Scotus. They're proud of where they came from. We want that alumni to come back and move back to Columbus at some point,
which is happening a little bit more and more, which is great to see.
It is, and we hope that continues to happen. But we also we need to make sure that we're connecting with those people.
Yeah.
we have to work on, within our advancement office, we have to make sure that, hey, do we have, good email addresses? Do we have good phone numbers? Up to date information so that we can connect with those people so that they can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
and I think, it's been fun to, as we've been doing, Taylor started the podcast and we've continued. It's fun to engage with alumni even when I'm out of town. Like, hey, I've been listening. Like a couple of guys this last weekend at the alumni soccer tournament are like, that's good stuff. I mean, this is a good avenue to kind of spread that message. And then obviously I think the social media presence has been a positive thing for school too.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's really how you hit people. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not always just grandmas out there that are on Facebook.
Yeah, or Twitter. But the evolving social media just continues to evolve.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword type of thing. We all know that social media can be toxic and it can be controversial at times. Our goal is to make sure that we're just educating people about the things that are going on in our school. It's not to create conversation about things on the internet or whatever, but we just use it as an avenue to make sure that people are aware of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. And it's a way for you to tell your story as well too. Exactly. I mean, that's and this podcast is an excellent way to tell the story of our school from people who were part of the story maybe 20 years ago or 30 years ago or right now part of the story. I mean, it's all just it's just a continuum. Yeah. I mean, it just keeps on going. A place like SCOTUS, I remember when I first started here, people tell you it's a special place. I agree with that. I mean, like, I can't imagine being anywhere else. Yeah. I can't imagine not being a part of this.
Well, think about how your roles evolved. Our first year, we came back to first year together. Yeah. I remember our first interaction out at the practice field during summer football camp. Throwing the football with Ryan. I mean, Ryan's a little guy at the time.
And he's 31 years old now.
I know. Think about that. I mean, he was 11. That's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But think about how that's evolved. Think about how the school's evolved in 20 years, and what's going to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years.
Recently, I had to do a biography for something that I was part of, and I just put down the fact that I've been a teacher, I've been a head coach, an assistant coach. I've been the dean of students. I've been the assistant principal. I've been the principal and president, and now executive director. I mean, sometimes I do a little maintenance too. Probably, the guys get mad at me because I'm sticking my nose into that. But be doing something. So I've seen a lot of things. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of it is that I've experienced this place from a lot of different ways. Yeah. From being a teacher to being a coach, to being an administrator, to all those things, learning from great people, learning from the Wayne Moorfeld, from Gary Pitts, those guys, learning how John Petersons of the world, how this place works, Janet Tooley, all those guys that were here for a long time, you just learn Merlin, learning from those guys. And then, that's your time to carry it on, and we'll pass it off to somebody else at some point. So
exactly. But that's what it takes, though. It takes everybody to do a little bit outside. That's maybe not quote unquote their job, right? To keep things moving.
It for sure takes that job. Yeah. I mean, you have to have great awareness of all the things that are going on around, and you have to see, like, it might not be your job to pick up the trash out on the lawn or something like that, but are you part of the school? Yeah. And if you are, then you want what's best for the school. Yep. You want the school to be the best it can possibly be, so you need to care about a lot of things. Now, when I say that, some people are gonna like move back from that. They're like, I don't want that kind of all that kind of responsibility. Yeah. But when in a Catholic school, just like ours, that's successful, and that mentality doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I mean, you need to not only be given the best of yourself, but you're also in support of everybody else around you, your students, your fellow teachers, everything. You're just trying to everybody pulling in the same direction all the time and trying to do just what's best for our schools.
And putting your front foot. I mean, just kind of being on your front foot, getting things done.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, you got to be proactive and not just reactive all the time. So
exactly. Yeah. So, well, it's, I guess you're talking about new families moving in, and a family comes in looking at the school. and we get this a lot too. You know, where should I send my kid? Well, what sets a Catholic education apart? Like what makes it unique, and what's the importance of a Catholic education to some of the new families that are maybe making that decision?
Yeah. So I am God put on my heart, for whatever reason, that Catholic education was going to be at the front and center of everything that I have done in my life, and I'm really lucky for that. I'm really lucky that my 5 kids had the ability to go to Holy Trinity up in Hartington for elementary school for part of it, and then when we moved down here to go through the elementary schools here, and then all 5 of them being able to graduate from SCOTUS was a great thing. A Catholic school, a Catholic education, I would hope would be something that every parent that's in our parishes or in our surrounding area that's Catholic would want for their child. That they would want to give them every opportunity every day to grow in their faith. Yes, to get a outstanding education, but it's about values as well too. And that's nothing I say here is like a knock toward a public school, but it's what we do. It's what we do on a daily basis of studying theology, of going to Mass, receiving the Eucharist, having reconciliation, penance services for our kids, having clubs and organizations that are surrounded by their faith, starting classes off with prayer, praying for each other, starting the school day off with prayer or loudspeaker, ending it, having people who within our schools set the example of the Catholic faith. Why wouldn't you want that for your kid? Why wouldn't you want that? Because you would want the best for your child. And trust me, I mean, we do everything we can to meet people where they're at with terms of affordability for our Catholic education. We will work with anybody. We will. We'll work with anybody. The worst thing that I could feel is like I'm turning somebody down because they can't meet the tuition that we have or something like that. I mean, hey, maybe you can volunteer, maybe, other things or whatever. But let's get the kid in the system. Let's get them involved in our Catholic education because we feel like that we can help form them. Now, don't get me wrong, the parents are the primary educators of their children, okay? We are in addition to the parents, okay? But we feel strongly that we can make a difference in the lives of the children that we're tasked to help form. And so it's an awesome responsibility. And I'll be talking to our teachers about this on Monday. It really, truly is an awesome responsibility. But I'll be talking to them about the fact that, hey, it's really important that we do this with joy. The joy in our heart for
genuine.
Yeah, genuine joy in our heart for every student that we have. Some of them are going to be great. Some of them are going to just work you over.
Yeah, and that's life.
They're going to test your patience.
They're students.
But you have great that you accept that when I work here in a Catholic school, that there's a high expectation of like I'm going to give of myself. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give because God. Everybody's here because for someone this is God's plan. Yeah. Somehow, some way, this is God's plan. Whether it's to help with something else eventually, or whatever the case might be, to put you in another position. But in this time, in this moment, this is the life that God intended for you to live. Yep. Okay? So we make the most of it. Yep. And I just really encourage our parents to just, prayerfully consider, trying to make sure their child gets a Catholic education. Mm-hmm. They won't be disappointed.
No.
I mean, I really believe that they will not be disappointed.
Yeah, and I've said this too before. It was like no place is perfect, no school's perfect, no situation's perfect. But this is a great situation. It's a great school. Has a great mission. And the school wants the best for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think I can say it without any reservation, John, that the people who work here within our schools, they genuinely care about your child. They genuinely care how or what happens to them. They really do care.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes there's friction or, something, whatever the case might be. Like you said, not every situation is perfect. We're not trying to be perfect. No. We're going to continue to try to do the best that we possibly can with the resources we have to give our kids a great Catholic education.
Exactly. Yeah. And I talk with a lot of community members too, and they'll ask me about SCOTUS and this and that, and I just kind of, I also reinforce them, hey, not every student that comes here is Catholic. We get students from different faiths that are now starting to come, and that's always kind of been that way, but you've kind of seen maybe a little bit more of that at times too. So it's encompassing for everyone, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing that we're going to do is, we're never going to discount our Catholic faith just so we can get other people in here. But what we are is a Christian education. I mean, we're upfront and honest with people about that. We follow Christ here. Yep. I mean, and so there's going to be classes where, in our theology classes, but our theology classes are also, if you go to our 9th grade the theology class, I think it's either 9th or 10th, where it's world religions. Mm-hmm. They're studying Judaism. They're studying the Muslim faith. They're studying Christianity, so they can learn about those. It's important to learn about those things. I mean, if you're a Catholic, you need to know about the Judaism. I mean, you need to know about it. Our history comes from that. So,
and I think, sometimes the perception is it's just, oh, you're just talking about Catholic education. Like, no, that's not true. I said we call our classes theology because we're learning about all of them.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point.
Right.
Well, let's kind of branch off here just a little bit because this is a popular question in Columbus right now. So we'll kind of talk.
This ought to be good.
Yeah, we'll touch on this. Obviously with the Ag Park going around, and then it's been in the paper, it's been on social media. SCOTUS buying land. I get a lot touch about that. And I was like, let's touch on.
Oh, that. So you want to go there?
Let's go there.
Okay.
Let's go there, and let's talk about the buying land rumor mill out there.
Yeah. So there is no truth to any of that. I don't even know what the situation is, to be real honest with you, about Ag Park. I think that there was probably some people who thought that maybe that would be a nice location for us to go. But let's talk about that for a little bit. So, I mean, honestly, to build, like if you're building a brand new school today, you're probably going to spend somewhere to like $30 to $40 million. Well, right now, I could tell you every bit of fundraising that we do every year goes into the general budget. Yeah. We don't, we're blessed with an endowment that we are able to take 5% to help offset the cost of our school. But we still, even with that, the fundraising we do has to, like, almost 100% of it has to go into the general budget for our schools. So there's no, I mean, it would have to be like someone would come along and say, hey, I'm going to help you with this, or a group of people would say they're going to help us with it. But, I just don't see that happening. Yeah. But here is what I really think. I think it's important for our Columbus Catholic schools in the future to do a capital campaign. Like, there's never been a capital campaign for SCOTUS. SCOTUS never did one. And, I think we should have a lofty goal of about $10 million at some point. And I think money in that capital campaign needs to be set aside to upgrade our facilities. There's things that we need to do. We have nice schools, okay? Don't get me wrong, but they need to be upgraded. I mean, there's parts of SCOTUS where the science wing was built in 1954 or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's no elevator. St. Bonaventure School has some things. St. Isidore School needs probably some, bathroom renovations or stuff. But we need to you always need to, make our schools look great. There's just infrastructure things that need to happen. Yeah. We don't want to be a minor league operation, right? We don't want to be doing it by shoestring every year. So, I mean, I think you're going to see us do a feasibility study in the second semester of the school year to kind of gauge kind of where we stand with that, because I think that is something that we need to do. That $10 million goal, we need to take some of the pressure off of our parishes as well, too, for how much they support our Catholic schools. Yeah. They're doing so much already for the elementary schools. They're helping out SCOTUS, paying for about 21 to 22% of the overall cost of SCOTUS as well with the elementary schools. It's a lot of money. I mean, literally, like, our parishes are probably spending somewhere between 70 to 75% of their income on Catholic education. Mm-hmm. We'd like to fix that a little bit, but that means that we need to do some things from an operational efficiency standpoint to do that as well, too. But I really think this will be a time, and I'm not talking about like with a capital campaign for us. like it's just going to be the Columbus 68601. No, we're talking about nationwide. Like we have alumni out and about, and it's going to be our time to really show that we're really proud of the system that we have, or that where I came from, and I want to help make that better for the future.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And I think to your point, well organized. Here's our vision. Here's where we're going. I really believe in my heart that support's going to be there. Like I say, we got arms stretched out all across the world.
Yeah,
that
I sure hope so.
All over.
I sure hope so.
But it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's what I think that's just what it takes sometimes. Is it nice? Hey, this is where your stuff's going to go towards down the road.
Well, I think too, and I'll just add this in, and I don't know if this was a question that was going to be later on. But, like our tuition, SCOTUS tuition is $4,200. The elementary school tuition is $3,000. It's really affordable in comparison to most of the. I mean, you go to GICC, you go to Norfolk Catholic, Bergen, all those. They're much more than we are.
Yeah.
Much more than we are. Our goal, we want to make sure that we have affordable Catholic education for our kids for the future, for our families for the future. On the path where we're at right now, that's really hard because I'll just take our whole 4 schools combined. Like if you take all 4 schools and the $7.8 million in that, you're probably looking at it costs about $9,000 for every kid when on average for the cost to educate from a K through 12. Okay. Well, I just said our tuition is $3,000 or $4,200. We have to bridge that gap between all of those for every kid. For the 870 kids that are in our school, we got to bridge the gap of over $4,000, $4,000 to $5,000 per kid to bridge the gap right now. I don't know that our people always understand that. We try to make sure people understand that, and I talked about it in the State of the Schools, the talks that I gave last spring. I mean that's the impetus for that's where our minds need to be a little bit on that. If we're going to keep education affordable tuition for our families here, and we want to be able to do that. We want to be able to, for the people who have 3 kids, 4 kids, that are in our systems, make sure that it's affordable for them as well too. So it just means we're going to need we do need to look at some change in that area. So,
and I think you touched on the cost. The tuition costs. My nieces and nephews in Omaha, they're paying 2.5 times that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You're going to pay 10, 11, 12 if you're at
any of the schools that you go to there.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess as we kind of get into the home stretch here, as you reflect on your time, it's like I said, it's been 20 years. A lot of good things happened to you in 20 years. What do you reflect on your time here at SCOTUS and what it's meant to you? You've kind of touched on your kids went here, but as you personally and you and Deb, what's it meant to you guys? Well,
so it's been an amazing opportunity. I've been truly blessed to be part of this school. And I often think back to kind of the circumstances about how I got here and all that, and it was I truly believe that God called me to be here for whatever reason, or the things that happened in my life that He's put me in this moment. It probably took me getting older, to truly understand that. Mm-hmm. And I probably understand those things better too as you become an administrator and you have more responsibilities in the things that you have. But I'm just so lucky to be part of Columbus Catholic Schools and all the great people that I've had a chance to work with that I could call a friend. Lifelong friends. I'm originally from Wahoo. My wife is originally from the Holdridge area, the town of Funk. We don't necessarily have those ties, ties to Columbus, but man, I mean, Columbus is home. Yeah. I mean, it really feels like home to us. I've got 2 grandkids that are living in Columbus, and one of them is going to be in preschool next year, and excited about that. But just really fortunate to have been blessed to be part of this situation. I know my wife would say the same thing. Incredible opportunities I've had when I go back to the coaching, because coaching was a big part of my life. I haven't done it as much over the last 8 to 10 years as I was doing. I think I was coaching 3 sports most of my life. Yeah. But the incredible opportunities that I had to work with the student athletes that I got a chance to work with, just great. I mean, I think about a lot of different things. somebody was talking about your sister-in-law, Kelly Korth. I was thinking about when I was coaching her in track, one of the hardest workers I ever worked with. I mean, she was just an incredible worker running the 300 hurdles. I would constantly you got to dig a little deeper. You got to dig a little deper, and I remember when she just missed the state championship by
literally
an eyelash.
Literally a stride.
Yeah, but I think about like those moments and, going to state in basketball, the good feeling, of that program, wasn't in the best of shape. And man, we, through the hard work of a lot of people, we were able to take it somewhere, which was really cool to see that happen and see kids starting to love to play basketball and all that. But I'm also blessed the fact that now in my position that I've gotten to know the elementary principals a lot better. I've gotten to know our elementary teachers a lot better, and seeing them, the work that they do on a daily basis, that's so much fun. And I get to go into the elementary schools. I could be the fun guy that goes into the gym or something like that, or high five the kids, or those kind of things, or go in the lunchroom and sit down with them at the lunch table and talk to them and have some fun with them. Those are great things. So it's all good. But the last thing I would say about it is, and this is the most important thing, is my faith has grown dramatically because of my association, like with SCOTUS or Columbus Catholic Schools, the responsibility I've had. I have the ability to have an office at SCOTUS, and I can walk down to the chapel where we have adoration 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What a blessing for SCOTUS to be able to have that.
An amazing chapel, really.
Yeah.
It is very peaceful.
Yeah, and thankful to Gene Bierman and all he did to make that happen. A lot of other people who have volunteered their time to make sure that it stays the way it is. Donette Jablonski, making sure that the candles are always, filled in there. So just there's so many people I could say that helped and still help with that process, that it is a beautiful place. But just my faith has grown because of that, because God put it on my heart and he revealed those things to me, that I was able to see them. I was able to recognize it. Maybe it was that I needed to get out of coaching, because maybe I was focused on the coaching all the time, and my eyes became open to all the other things that were happening in my life. So
I think there's some truth to that for sure.
Yeah.
You're kind of so invested in, you
can get blinders.
Yeah, you do. You get tunnel vision. You're focused on that, and then the next thing you know, you're like, man, that's a long time. Yeah,
because I would say, probably, John, there was a time in my life when I was coaching that probably my life went how the seasons went.
Exactly.
And that's a terrible thing. That's a
hard.
Terrible thing. Yeah, because you care so much about the success of it, but that's not how you live your life.
No.
So
it is that, and it took me a while to see that perspective too. I think that every coach kind of gets to that at some point, right?
Yeah, I remember some of our freshmen. We're coaching freshman football games, and we're mad. We're mad because we lost.
Yeah, I know. Well, or we get mad at each other, like at David City Aquinas.
Well, if you would just do what I tell you to do, everything would be fine.
You just keep running that offense. No, that's good stuff. No, but you definitely had some good memories. We've had some good memories together. You're a dear friend of mine.
Yeah,
we came in together at the same time, and it's been great to see you. It's been great to see you take and help lead Columbus Catholic Schools into a new path and the path forward that we go.
Well, I appreciate you. You're a perfect example of what we're talking about, like for alumni. You're totally dedicated. You bleed green completely. Your family bleeds green in everything that they do. You're in here doing these podcasts. I thought when Taylor was gone, I thought, well, this is the end of that. Mm-hmm. I thought I was probably going to have to take it on or try to find some time to do it. God put it on you that, to step up to do this. And like we talked about before we started this, to just, all these people that are listening to this, all the impact that it's having, the stories that are being told, the laughs that people are having, they're listening on their headphones and they're walking on the treadmill or driving in their car and they're listening to that. And it elicits memories in their mind. Things are wash over them and come like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was so cool, So, yeah.
Well, and that's the good part about the alumni things that we have, because it's like, kids are, hey, coach, do you remember this? Do you remember this story? And then, even my own teammates, we're so close, but like, gosh dang, our stomachs hurt because we're laughing so hard.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about. That's
it
what
is.
These alumni things are all about.
And that's what, but like you going back to coaching, that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
That not necessarily the wins and all those things, because you might win a state championship and it may not have been the most fun year you've ever had, because there was the expectations that we had to win a state championship. But it's those fun years where you just got great kids to work with And man, you had great memories because it's kind of like like I was talking about our senior girls from last year.
Mm-hmm.
They just made memories in all their sports.
Might not have won a state title in any of them, but they made a heck of a year. And that's what
I think everybody was really proud of them because they recognized. You recognize work. You see it. You can tell that it's working. That this is good. It's a good thing, and you could clearly see that.
Well, and you think about going back to our first point about hosting the districts. Think about how packed that gym was for the district girls basketball final. That was packed. That was awesome.
For sure.
That was awesome.
Yep.
Well, in your first episode, you described Columbus Catholic Schools with excellence. We're a year removed from there, and that's still a great word that you use. Is there another word you'd use now as we go into 25, 26?
Well, I think that is still just like I look at it now as like consistency. We have the bar set high, and it kind of goes back to now as we start to bring newer people into the fold that I hope that they recognize when they come in here, because SCOTUS and Anthony's and Bonds and Isidore's all have a reputation of being high achieving, and that they come here because they want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of that excellence. And so we have that consistency then of making sure that's what I really look as my job, just to make sure that we have the resources we need. Because like I said before, our teachers, they're the backbone of everything that happens. So we got to give them everything that they need to be successful. If that's also like a salary, that's a just salary and benefits that are comparable to the public schools, we got to do it.
Yeah.
We got to do it.
Yep.
Because this is so important. We need to make sure that they receive they're not taking a vow of poverty just because they go to work in a Catholic school. Mm-hmm. So we need to make sure that we have all the resources we need to give them. People are still going to work hard whether they're making as much as a public school. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's also a sign of respect from us to them that we respect what they do. There's a level of professionalism that comes with that. We say, we value the work that you do.
Yeah, and they definitely appreciate that.
Yeah,
knowing from experience.
Yeah.
So, well, Jeff, thanks for coming in today. It was great to hear you again here in the Shamrock Green Room and give us an update on things on SCOTUS and Columbus Catholic Schools. This was great to get you in here before the school year starts here next week.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, take care.
Best of luck to you guys.
Yeah,
okay?
Thanks.
All right. If you're interested in hearing more Shamrock Green Room episodes, subscribe to us and rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure to follow us on our social media channels, SCOTUS Central Catholic on Facebook, X, and YouTube, and Columbus Catholic Schools on Instagram. If you have some ideas for some guests on the podcast, please email me at coachbrez@gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us in the Shamrock Green Room.